Welcome to Pages and Pods. In this episode, we'll focus on how Rabbi Schneur Zalman presented God not merely as a distant creator, but as the constant source of all energy and light within creation itself. Our source text will be the Tanya, also known as the Likutei Amarim by 18th century Rabbi Schneur Zalman of Laidi, and the Practical Tanya by Rabbi Chaim Miller. The Tanya draws deeply on the Zohar, the foundational text of Jewish Kabbalah, and reinterprets its mystical teachings through the traditions of Hasidic thought. In the last episode, we learned that God created reality by making space within his infinite being, a concept known in Kabbalah as Tzimtzum. To put this into scientific terms, consider the Big Bang Theory, our best model for the origin and expansion of the universe. According to this view, the universe began as a singularity and expanded, unfolding materiality into what appears to be a vast void. Space itself continues to expand, seemingly into nothingness. But here's the mystery. Science has no mathematics or language to describe this nothing. If the universe is expanding, what is it expanding into? What is being displaced? These are questions that physics struggles to address, but the mystical tradition offers a different starting point based in the foundational belief in a creator. Let's look closely at the scientific proposition that accepts the theory that the totality of existence is framed within boundaries defined by observation and theory. In this view, space and time are not fixed absolutes, but emergent properties. All known reality arises into our known universe. Advanced models in quantum cosmology suggest that what we perceive as a beginning may instead be a transitional phase in a much larger cycle. It's easy to become awestruck at the notion that the universe, our solar system, and planet are part of a grand evolution within a vast multiverse. But the fact remains, all of these models are speculative. They are mathematical attempts to describe the unknown, not established facts. Importantly, they do not answer the questions about where materiality arises. Where is it going? Does it end? However, from an observational, experiential perspective, you may imagine the universe like a balloon inflating, and it seems logical to ask, what is outside the balloon? This question resonates with long-standing metaphysical views, including those in ancient Hindu, Platonic, and Jewish traditions that describe a realm beyond physical existence. If we accept the scientific explanation that the universe is an emergent phenomenon, we can interpret it metaphysically through the concept of Tzimtzum, the idea that God created a space within his infinite being into which the universe expands. This can neither be proven nor disproven by instrumentation. It's a metaphysical insight that harmonizes with the image of a spreading universe of space and time. The great ancient religions affirm that all of reality is ultimately encompassed by God. The Tanya, as interpreted by Rabbi Chaim Miller, explains this mystery through ancient traditional Jewish teaching. The universe was created from the thoughts of God. Reality itself is encompassed by the divine mind, the formless realm from which existence begins to emerge. Materiality then is shaped not from substances, but from the spoken words of God. According to the Kabbalists, all of reality is continuously spoken into existence. This forms the basis for constant emergence, a dynamic, eternal discourse in which the Creator's voice sustains all things. The building blocks of this cosmic speech are the letters of the Hebrew alphabet, each one a vessel through which divine light and energy becomes form. Now imagine that each letter is a vessel, hollow for the purpose of this discussion, into which God pours his light and energy. These letters, spoken into being, become the fundamental structures of reality. Every word uttered by the Creator emerges into the world as something we perceive: stones and water, trees and antelopes, even our own bodies and every cell within them. Existence is a chorus, a divine choir composed of billions of ongoing pronunciations of God, and importantly, it is sung, not merely spoken, but resonating with the rhythm and harmony of eternal intention. The Jewish concept of materiality emerging from divine speech is similar to the concept of Platonic forms. Plato taught that everything in the material world corresponds to an eternal, perfect archetype, a form that exists in the immaterial realm of the divine intellect. These forms reside in the mind of the One, the ultimate source of all being, and are made accessible to reality through the nous, or divine intellect. The transmission of these forms into the world is associated with the concept of the Logos, the divine ordering principle through which all things are named and structured. The key difference between Plato's vision and Kabbalistic thought lies in intention. In Platonism, the forms are eternal and independent, even the One. In Kabbalah, however, every form and name exists within God's will. Nothing exists independently. This reflects a deeper metaphysical divergence, where Platonism leans towards pantheism, whereas Kabbalah affirms panentheism, that all of reality exists within God, but God also infinitely transcends it. Therefore, in mystical Judaism, all of reality emanates from God. It is not independent of him. Every aspect of existence, from the animate to the inanimate, is filled with divine light and energy. Nothing can exist without being continuously sustained by God's presence. Reality is discursive, an infinitely complex and ongoing song sung by the Creator, where every moment and every form is a living word in that sacred composition. Rabbi Miller's translation of Rabbi Schneur Zalman's explanation of the transformation of God's words into reality states, "And as for the fact that every created thing appears to us as real and substantial and not null and void, that is only because we fail to grasp and tangibly see the power of God, the breath of his mouth in every created thing." But there's another twist. In the ancient world, mystics would attempt to connect with God to gain power and insight, seeking visions, control over nature, or secret knowledge. In the Tanya, connection with God is not about gaining power, but about Bitul, self-nullification, aligning one's inner life with divine purpose. In the Tanya, the ideal response to God's creative song is Bitul Hayesh, the nullification of the ego or somethingness. Rather than seeking power, the soul aligns with the divine will by recognizing that its very existence is dependent on God's continuous presence. This humility allows the individual to become a true participant in the divine duet, responding not with self-assertion, but with acceptance, prayer, and purpose. Neoplatonic theurgists famously performed rituals to invoke the power of the One. I have a podcast dedicated to this. So too did the prophetesses of ancient Greece, the soothsaying sibyls, and the oracles of Delphi. Likewise, Egyptian priests sought access to divine intelligence through highly structured ceremonial acts, often performed in sacred temple complexes. This stands in direct contrast to mystical Judaism. While some popularized versions of Kabbalah speak of gaining divine power through esoteric practice, Orthodox Judaism, especially the Chabad movement, firmly rejects this approach. Instead, the concepts presented in the Tanya look at the Creator's intention and ask why the Creator, using a multitude of divine voices singing reality into being, why is he doing it? The answer is that he wants to receive a response. That response does not come through magical rites, but through human prayer, ethical action, and devotion. The divine discourse is not a monologue. It's a dialogue, a duet, an opera unfolding on the world stage. And it is taught that if humanity falls silent, if we fail to pray, act justly, and acknowledge the Creator, the song may cease, and the world itself could come to an end. So now it's time to answer the question posed in the previous episode. How does God hide himself? By entering the world as words and letters. His divine energy and light become encapsulated in the alphabet of creation. We don't see God directly. We perceive the reality shaped by his words. He is everywhere. You could say he's in plain sight, but not as God. Instead, as his creation, he is hidden within all things. Our task is not to worship the creation, but to seek the source of emanation, the one who continues to speak the world into being. In the next episode, I will discuss the aspects of what is commonly known as the tree of life and how we can use these aspects of divinity, known as the sephirot, to develop our spiritual relationship with the Creator. As always, if you learned something from this podcast, click the like button and subscribe.